To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So today I'm gonna resume putting on the gutter board. Yes, I called it gutter board. I recognize that a lot of people also call it a soffit. The first video I made where I talked about the gutter board, I bet I had 50 people tell me it's a soffit. I went with what the retailers are calling it. As a matter of fact, I make gusset plates for the rafter. You can buy them also, and it's just a metal plate that has lots of little spikes coming out of it that you nail in. I showed you many videos of that. I went to Home Depot and I said, yeah, I'm looking for gussets. The guy looked at me, and then I called it what the webpage called it, Home Depot's webpage, and said, yes, I'm looking for mending plates. Nobody in the country calls them mending plates except Home Depot. So from that point forward, I started calling them mending plates, and I can't believe how many people told me, no, they're gusset plates. I'm telling you, if you actually start getting into this type of stuff, there's 50 different names for everything. And so there's no reason for the corrections, because even if you correct me, if I go to Lowe's and say soffit, they may not know what I'm talking about. So I got to know all those names. I got to get up here on the ladder and put this on. This is the high side of the building. And over here, being on the ladder, it's not too bad because I'm on concrete. I can lock the ladder here at this beam and everything feels nice and secure. But when I go to the other side, the ground's all uneven and it feels like it's a lot higher up here also. So the ladder doesn't sit correctly. I have to put something underneath one of the legs. It's terrible. And so I'm way up there and I'm just shaking the whole time. I used to be like Superman. I was never scared of heights. But the older I get, the harder it is for me to get up there on the ladder. I guess I realize now that I break easier. So the other day, I showed you some of the things that I completed. And one of the things I'm very proud of is my wood stove. Now, I know I've just made a video recently talking about this, but most of the construction, I have not followed code. For example, I didn't put a crown plate up here, which is just another board that runs along here. It's supposed to give it more strength. I didn't put a header on this window. I did on this window, but not on that window, because my research told me that I'm totally safe not putting a header on non-supporting walls. Whereas this is a supporting wall, and you gotta have a header because you gotta be able to hold the weight of the roof. The crown plate, I decided not to put a crown plate there. The boards are just so expensive. You know, that'd have been another, what, almost $100 in boards. But my research told me that 2x6s are gonna give it plenty of strength. You know, I actually looked at the math, how much a 2x6 can hold per square, per foot, and on and on and on. And I felt like there's no problems here. If I do start to see a problem, I can make corrections. It's not just gonna cave in on me and I'm gonna die. It's gonna be a progression. I'm gonna notice it, and then I can just admit my mistake at that point. Okay, well, I should have put a crown plate there. But there's still things I can do to make corrections. A lot of people told me your building isn't gonna be strong enough without a crown plate. There is no shaking. This thing has just become solid. Now I did put a little bit of a crown plate, you might see right there. A lot of people tell me that I gotta have my rafters with a brace. So I did put a brace here originally, but I'm gonna take it out. Because if I go outside, you're gonna see that here at my gutter board that I have locked these boards inside. You cut 1.5 inches off one side, each side, or 1 3/4 inches off each side, and they slide into each other. And so you can see maybe that board runs all the way through. So that gives this structure so the building can't, the rafters can't sway back and forth. So no, I don't need any bracing. This is all from hours and hours of research. This isn't something I just threw together. I didn't go with word of mouth or anything. But the one thing I really did focus in on was the wood stove. Originally, I was going to put the wood stove out here. Right now, my camper, I have a wood stove outside, and it's a heat exchanger. I've made it into a heat exchanger. Well, I was going to do the same thing here. I was going to put it outside. There's a concrete pad right underneath all this junk, that metal scrap. I was going to build a building and make a wood stove heat exchanger. That way, if something went wrong, something caught on fire or carbon monoxide or whatever, it'd be outside. I wouldn't have to worry about it. But the more I got to thinking about it, and the more I did my research, and the more I thought, and more research, and more I thought, more research, I decided, no, we're going to bring it inside because it's not going to use near as much firewood if I bring it inside. I decided that I was going to follow every safety protocol and every code that I could find. Even if it didn't apply to this county, I wanted to know what kind of codes I had to follow. I also read all the instructions to all the ventilation kits that I bought. This is a big kit. This had a whole bunch of different components in it right here. It had the attic box, it had everything. I mean, that was not light reading. That took me 2 days to read and understand and take notes. Well, somebody saw on my video that my pipe is upside down. and they did. They put it in caps to let me know it's upside down. It's not upside down. Thinking about it, you would say, yeah, that's upside down. The male end is going into the female end, and that's what they call it. I'm not trying to be, rude or anything. That's what they call it. Now, you would think smoke is going to come right out of there, but it doesn't. If you even just look at how this thing is designed, when you come down here to the stove itself, there is no other way to do it other than putting the male end down. This defies logic. Why are you doing it that way? Why would code say you put it upside down so smoke comes out of it? Smoke doesn't come out of it because physics. It's all about cold and hot. The reason you put the male side down is for safety. Creosote builds up in these pipes, soot, creosote, and it drips down. Well, you want that to drip down into the stove. So if you had it upside down, if you had it the other way where the female side was up, your creosote could actually seep out onto the pipe outside here and catch on fire. As far as the smoke, you can go on YouTube and you can see videos where they'll put a match right up to the pipe and it will draw that flame into the hole, into the gap. It sucks it in. The reason is because fire, heat inside the pipe needs oxygen. It has to have oxygen. So it's drawing that oxygen through these seams. So it's sucking in air to get oxygen. Smoke doesn't come out. Everything's being drawn in. Carbon monoxide is going to stay inside. So this is why I always stress that if you're going to put a comment in the comment section that there is a safety procedure or something that I violated, I request that you don't say it until you absolutely know for 100% that is true, because other people will follow your advice and you're putting their safety at risk. I'm not suggesting that you follow my way of doing things. I've always said research, research, research. And when you get instructions from the manufacturer, you need to read the instructions, which is exactly what I said before I even started this conversation. Okay, so I'm going to get started on the gutter plate. Okay, once again, I'm going to use my little handy dandy extra hand. I'm going to screw this into the overhang edge right there. Oh, yeah, I had it. When I do that, then I'll be able to set my plywood right here. And then I can go to the other side, screw it in. Okay, so I got them all in. This is fantastic. Again, I just can't tell you how much pride I feel every time I get something done. even though it's just hanging a board. Had some troubles over here. I miscut. I told you a while back that I've messed this side up. I went an inch over, and so everything I've done now is goofed up. I've been thinking once I get the metal roofing material for the siding, for the side of the house, of course I'm gonna get some trim here. It was funny. I said I didn't know what these were called, and in a previous video, and so many people gave me a different answer. I mean, every person that said, oh, that's what they're called, that's what they're called, gave me a different answer. The thing is I had already figured it out. I already called a company, and we figured it out what I needed, and it's called an L trim. So nobody got the answer right. It was funny. It was like quiz time, and nobody got the quiz right. I hope I can inspire you. You can live your dream. Thanks for watching.